Have you wanted to invest in multifamily deals, but you have some concerns about investing out of state? In fact, how can you feel comfortable investing in a property that you've never seen or with a sponsor that you've never met? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about that and talk about how you can get to a comfort level both investing with a sponsor in a property that you've never met or never seen. So when you decide, hey, I'm interested in investing in a property out of state with sponsors that I've never met, you may have a thought or even some friends that will tell you, what are you doing? You're crazy. Why would you ever do something like that? But I wanted to kind of walk through this a little bit, that it's just interesting. I live in a very expensive area to live. So in Southern California, homes are very expensive. Multifamily is very expensive. In fact, a 12 unit in Venice Beach can cost more than 100 units in Atlanta. So, sometimes, and the returns are actually much, much lower. So it is important to be open to look at other areas out of state. And one of the reasons for this is that the times have changed a bit. In the past, there was very much an active model, which one of the sayings for this was only invest somewhere where you can get there within a 2-hour drive. And I've heard a lot of people say this, and especially it's a lot of older investors and people who have been around a long time. And there is some wisdom to that. I get that. I get that, yes, you want to be able to kick the tires, you want to be able to see the property. If there's an issue, you can kind of work it out. But I would say that that is a very active model. If you're the one who's getting in the car, driving 2 hours, driving an hour, and you're trying to scale something on your real estate investments, it's very difficult to do from the active model. Now, on the passive side, things have changed quite a bit. Now it's actually possible that you can do a lot of the things that you weren't able to do actually virtually online. You can find a lot of information. There's a lot of things that you're able to do that we weren't able to do before. And it is a passive model that really allows you to scale. So the next thing I'm going to say is that it is really important to do your homework. So like I mentioned, you can go online, you can research, you can look at the Google Street View of this property that maybe you're looking at investing in. You can say, okay, it's in this place, and you can type in the address, and you can actually do a walking tour on Google Maps. You can find out the area, you can find out the demographics, you can do some research both on the deal as well as the sponsor. And I want to show you this. This is called city-data.com. I'm going to put this on your screen here. This is a great way that you can find out more about the crime, the income, the schools, and the unemployment. It's a really great site, so I encourage you to take a look at that. Another thing I will say is that it is very important to vet your sponsor, because you want to have kind of the trust but verify type of model with your sponsors. So you want to say, okay, they're saying this about the area, is it true? They're saying this about their performance, is it true? Are you seeing, does the business plan make sense? Are they being conservative? Just because rents have risen 5% for every year for the last few years, is that really conservative going forward? So those are things that, when you're working with your sponsor, you want to be able to try to verify what they're saying. You can do your own independent research both on the sponsor as well as on the group. So I actually have one friend who does a background check personally on each partner who's involved in a deal. And there's a little bit of cost to do that, but especially if it's a new group for you, you can basically work to help vet that sponsor and check them out. Another thing is, how long has that sponsor been in business? If it's just been the last few years, they just don't quite have enough experience to work with. Maybe it's something that you'd want to talk with some other investors and find out if people have been invested for a long period of time, what their experience has been, because that's something that's going to give a lot of information as well, and is going to really make you feel more comfortable with working with that sponsor. Another thing I tell people sometimes is be willing to get on a plane and go take a look at the property with the sponsor. So sometimes if you join an investment club and we get a deal under contract, we'll always go out to the property and do multiple trips out there and take a walk. And sometimes a investor will want to go as well. And so that's something that a sponsor should be open to, allowing an investor to come along. So if it's something that you are just trying to get your head around, what does this actually look like, and how do I know this isn't a scam? And that was really one of my big concerns is, hey, you're giving money to somebody you don't really know that well. You're going to a property that you've never really seen. So what does it look like? So there is always a possibility you can get on a plane and go take a look at it. So something that I would encourage you to be willing to do. So really the question comes is really, what is the difference? What's the difference between investing locally versus investing out of area? Well, if you think of it this way, in your own local area, you probably know a lot about the local market that you live in. You know what the good areas are, you know the bad areas, you probably know something about the employment, what's happening, maybe how businesses are doing, that type of thing. And the same thing exists in other areas. It's just that you personally don't have the knowledge of what's happening in this out of area place. And the question that you really need to be asking yourself is, do I trust my sponsor? Because if you can't trust what the sponsor is saying, then it really doesn't make sense to invest with them. So if anything isn't really registering, something doesn't really make sense, the business plan, the way that they're presenting certain things, I think it's really important that you pay attention to your gut. So I've kind of learned as I've gotten older, your gut is something that you can't always necessarily rationally put your finger on why you feel a certain way about a certain person or a deal or something, but it is really important that you pay attention to that, because that's going to save you from making a lot of mistakes. It's going to save you from losing money. So anyway, I hope this was valuable for you to be able to look at and say, hey, how do I get to a place where I feel more comfortable investing out of area? There are thousands and thousands of people doing this all the time, and it's something that most of our investors are not local investors; they're out of area. And we meet them through events, we meet them, have calls and set up calls that way. But many of them we never met in person, and it's kind of amazing to see how people do feel comfortable investing with someone that they haven't met. So anyway, I hope you found value from this. I wanted to let you know we do have an investment club. You can check it out at bronsonequity.com/join. We also have this free report you can check out about investing during and after a pandemic. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.